And this is the WJZ election update. The polls about to close here in Maryland in just a few minutes.
But as long as you're in line by 8 o'clock, you can still vote. When you tally up early voting and all those mail-in ballots, more than 2.2 million people have already voted in the state. It's amazing. All
right, let's head over to Nicole Baker live at the polling place at Baltimore City Community College with a look at the turnout so far. Hey, Nicole.
That's right. You do not want to get out of line with 6 minutes to go until the polls close here in Maryland. People in the face of a pandemic, they showed up today in person to vote in this historic election. And when we talk about it being historic, it really comes down to those numbers. So let's give you a look at those official numbers as they stand right now. When we're talking about in-person voting as of right now, we're talking about more than 344,000. In the last 8 days, Maryland has seen more than 983,000 showing up for early in-person voting. Then we get to the big numbers, 1.3 million mail-in ballots returned. William Hawthorne, by the way, he's lived in Baltimore his whole life. He told me earlier tonight that voting in person was his only option. Take a listen.
It was important for me to be in person so that I could make sure that my vote was counted properly, especially with the mailboxes being removed. Mail-in voting was not an option for me.
As the polls begin to close, the anticipation of election night, it is beginning. Who will get Maryland's 10 electoral votes? Who will become the next mayor? We are watching it all. We just have to hurry up and wait. Back to you.
That we're doing. We're pretty good at that now, Nicole. Thank you very much. Let's bring in Avajor Burnett, focused on the 7th Congressional District race.
Yes, another big one. That race against Democratic incumbent Kwesi Mfume and Republican Kimberly Klacik. Avajor.
Hey there, guys. Well, right now we are at the Kwesi Mfume headquarters in downtown Baltimore. It's really small given the limitations that we have because of the pandemic. And all day today, the candidates in this district, they've been really pushing to get those final votes. Now we're just about 5 minutes away from the polls closing, and everything is out of their hands. Let's talk a little bit about the Republican Kimberly Klacik. She was in Baltimore City, went over to Baltimore County. We even caught up with her in Howard County down in Columbia. And you know what? Many of the people there, some of them were supporting her, but we have to keep in mind that this is a heavily Democratic district, 4-1. She's outnumbered heavily, even though she mounted a really big battle with regards to fundraising. You know, it's a really tough road to climb. As for the incumbent Kwesi Mfume, we're waiting to hear from him tonight. You know what? He's coming in on that wave from the special election, and we will have to wait to see what the results are. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Avajoy. And we're joined now by Dr. Malia Cromer, who is a political science professor at Goucher College and a polling expert. So the polls, Dr. Cromer, are about to close, but I know Goucher has already done some advanced polling. Can you share with us what you've learned?
Right. We released our October Goucher poll a couple weeks ago, and we found that Joe Biden was up significantly on Donald Trump. This should really come as no surprise to anybody. Maryland is a solidly blue state. I'm glad we're talking about it right now, because when you go back over to the national coverage, Maryland is just going to get one more blip tonight when they call the race for Joe Biden, which is certainly what myself and other pollsters expect to happen.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Cromer. And as you say, not a surprise, as Maryland traditionally is a Democratic state. Thank you so much. Back to Rick and Dick.
Okay. All right, Denise, thank you. Of course, question 2, should sports betting be allowed in Maryland? We'll talk about that, the vote on that coming up. The polls closing here in about a little more than a minute now. And, of course, we'll also have up-to-the-minute results on our WJZ app and also on our website at WJZ.com. Don't go away. Much more coming up right now from CBS News.